Well, if you were looking for new scandalous details about the Jeffrey Epstein sex trafficking case, you're going to have to wait. Two anonymous individuals filed last-minute motions to keep hundreds of documents in the case sealed. RT correspondent John Huddy is live from our Miami bureau with more on this latest development in the case. John, I know this is not a case that we obviously need to bring it to light, but this is not a good subject we're talking about. We're talking about something very disgusting, very dirty that happened in America, and we're trying to bring light to exactly what went on. So what do we know about the two individuals, and why do they want to make sure that these case files continue to remain sealed?
Yeah, it's a good question, Scotty. We don't know their names, only that they're anonymous individuals referred to as J. Doe, as in Jane Doe, and John Doe. The person referred to as Jane Doe wants the Epstein case files to remain sealed for fear that if they're made public, they'll be embarrassing to her as a victim in the case, that according to her attorney. As for the other person referred to as John Doe, we don't know his specific involvement in the case, if any. That is, if he was a friend of Epstein's, if he's also accused of having sex with underage girls, or if he's just someone mentioned in the overall case file. According to the motion filed by his attorney, the release of the unredacted documents, quote unquote, may well substantially infringe the privacy and reputational interests of many third persons who've never been charged with a crime, have never been subject to civil proceedings, and have never been publicly identified by Jeffrey. Now, the documents, more than 1,000 in all, stem from a lawsuit filed by one of Epstein's victims, Virginia Roberts Jeffrey, against Epstein's former partner and friend, the British socialite, Ghislaine Maxwell. Well, the Miami Herald, along with 30 other media groups, filed a motion for the documents in the Epstein case to be made public, and a three-judge panel for the U.S. Court of Appeals Second Circuit gave the parties until March 19th to provide good cause why they shouldn't be unsealed. Well, the two anonymous individuals, Jane and John Doe, filed their motions on Tuesday, Scotty. So that's where we're at with that.
Well, listen, hearing you explain it, John, I can understand, I can respect Jane's decision, not as much John's, but I understand that she wants to have her rights and she wants to be able to not be re-victimized. So I get that one. But is there still possibility the documents will be unsealed? And have they even talked about redacting some of the information that might let Jane's identity not be known?
Well, I think that'll be part of the discussion at this point, and it's definitely still possible the documents will be unsealed, as the court seems really inclined to release them. But I think it depends on the validity of the arguments being made by those individuals involved in the filing of those last-minute motions on Tuesday, if they have sound and reasonable arguments that persuade the court not to release the case files altogether. Or perhaps it could be that, certain documents are released with some information redacted. We'll see. But if that happens, if the case files are not released, I think it's safe to assume there will be pushback from the organizations involved with the initial motion to unseal them, including the Miami Herald, New York Times, and Washington Post, among others, citing the public interest in the case and the legal and political issues that continues to surround it. In particular, the controversy regarding Epstein's sentence of 13 months in Palm Beach County Jail, a non-prosecution deal that was reached between his team of attorneys and former U.S. Attorney in Florida, Alex Acosta, now President Trump's labor secretary. And that contentious deal is now the subject of a Justice Department investigation, as we know, with calls from various Democratic leaders, congressmen, senators, for Acosta to step down in lieu of the investigation and surrounding controversy. Others, including Republican Senator Ben Sasse from Nebraska, have called for a thorough Justice Department investigation into the overall Epstein case and subsequent deal with prosecutors, as I mentioned. And that DOJ investigation, Scotty, is ongoing at this point.
Well, it will be interesting to see. Like I said, I have a lot of sympathy for Jane, wanting to protect her as a victim. But John, I think all names need to be listed so we can make sure that the true light and honesty comes out in this case. Thanks for joining us, John.
You're welcome.
Hey YouTube, thanks for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed this last video. We have a ton more great content just like this for you. So if you want more, make sure you go ahead and subscribe. And remember, never stop questioning more.